Hey guys, Dr. Matt Giller here, co-founder of Covalent Careers and New Grad Optometry. Super excited to be doing another webinar. This is probably, we might be up to like 24, so it's great to add to the repertoire. So today we're coming in with two optometrists, two Target Optical Sublease holders, and let me give a short introduction. 1 second here. All right. So both John and Anna, who are going to be on the webinar today, are two good friends of mine, and let me give you their formal introduction here. So Dr. Chun AuYeung, call him John, is a graduate of Nova Southeastern and is currently practicing in Maryland. He has worked primarily in corporate optometry, spending 4.5 years with my eye doctor. And then Dr. AuYeung then joined the Luxottica family and has his own Target Optical Sublease, which will soon reach its 1-year anniversary. Good job, John. Fun fact is that Dr. AuYeung currently goes by Chicka Chicka John. There's a backstory behind that, but you'll get to see John's personality. He's just a super fun guy. And Dr. Anna Lam attended Southern California College of Optometry at MBKU and has worked in a corporate sublease as well as in research, specifically in refractive surgery technology. She has had a Target Sublease for 2 years and is currently working with Covalent Careers as our eye care program director. She enjoys cooking, traveling, and spending time with her family. You'll get to know a ton more about them as we go through here. So Anna, why don't you just go ahead, kick it off. If anyone has questions during the talk, just feel free to type them in right in YouTube. There's a comment section to the right of the video player. I'll pick them up and direct them towards John and Anna. So we're excited to get started. But yeah, go ahead, Anna.
Wonderful. Thank you for the intro. All right, John, let's get started. So could you explain what is a Target Optical Sublease?
Target Optical Sublease is where Luxottica, aka Target Optical, rents a space out in Target, and then they rent a space out to ODs like myself, a little small space, and where we practice full scope optometry, without someone telling us what we need to charge, how many patients we need to see. So you're renting a space out as if it's your own small little business without the overhead expenses.
Okay, very nice. Why did you specifically choose Target versus some of the other subleases?
Target has a great culture. I love shopping at Target. Their belief and their core values are very similar to mine, where it's quality. It's not necessarily the best prices in terms of cheap, but it's very good quality. It's clean. And fun tip is that when you go to Target next time, you'll never hear music playing. It's because Target core value is that they pay attention to the guests, not trying to trick them into buying anything with good music or anything like that. So I really believe in their culture, and me being aligned with their culture just makes me feel like I belong, and I can do a lot more with that, with the right culture.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I noticed that they don't play music, but that,
yeah.
Wow, nice.
And they don't call customers as customers. They actually call them guests.
Yeah.
Like, hey, welcome, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's super interesting, yeah.
All right, let's see what we have next here. So what was the process of acquiring a sublease?
So I reached out to one of my friends who owns a Target Optical Sublease for a couple of years. I asked him, hey, what do you think about this? Pretty much the same thing what we're doing, right? And then he introduced me to the regional, and I found him through LinkedIn because I'm that type of person, just find through everybody through Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social medias to kind of find out about them. So I private messaged him and say, I'm interested in Target Optical Sublease. Do you have anything available? And next thing you know, we hit it off there.
Was it tough to go through the whole process of, at that point, to gain the sublease? Did you have to do a lot of paperwork or interviews or jump through a lot of hoops?
No, not too many hoops. The interview process was pretty informal. Not too much paperwork. They were just looking for the right person. They denied several people. Mm-hmm. They want someone that's motivated and kind of like savvy
Mhm.
and hardworking.
Hey, John, did
Yes.
did like the core values, I guess, of, you know, like what you were saying, what Target embodies, and that kind of shine through in the interview process? Could you tell that they're looking for someone who kind of, you know, fits in well with that workplace culture?
Oh, absolutely. They're like, we want you to do whatever it is that you need to do to take care of the patient. Let us take care of the optical sales. You know, we're not going to push you. We're not going to tell you what to do. It was a very, very stress-free environment. They just want someone that actually really cares about the patient and really take pride in what they do.
Right. Yeah, and that's interesting, you know, because I guess, and Anna, maybe you can relate, but yeah, it's really important, I guess, for practices, whether you're private practice, corporate practice, whatever, to establish those core values from the beginning, or else it's, you know, I guess that's the why of the decision-making process. It's a filter that you can pass decisions through. Does this align with the core values and our mission?
Yeah, I definitely agree. One of the first phone calls that I had with the regional, she discussed like, oh, how often do you want to see patients, and how often do you want to see them back? And I said that, oh, I feel like every year a patient should have their annual eye exam because that's very important for their eye health. And they were totally on board with that. So that just kind of made them stand out a little bit more in terms of the environment and the partnership that I wanted to be involved in, because they totally had my back and really supported what optometrists do and the eye care that we want to give to patients.
Yeah, got it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Can you talk a little bit more about the sublease in terms of the lease, the rent? Do we get any equipment, EHR, any marketing and scheduling help?
Yes. So the lease generally consists of 1 year lease only. Nothing shorter than that. Nothing longer than that. The rent varies. If it's a new rent, obviously it's going to be a little different than an established lease versus a new lease. But it's not extremely high. You literally can pretty much make your month's rent pretty much in 1 day's work, and then everything is in your pocket, right? Costs, very low overhead costs, like I mentioned earlier, because the equipment, they provide you with all the pre-testing equipment, auto refraction, NCT. Some places even have FDT for you. The slit lamp, the phoropter, some lenses, like especially the 90D, they provide that for you. And the contact lens trials, they're all set up before you even get it, pretty much. So they provide majority of the equipment for you. The only thing you're really responsible for are the printer, the computer, obviously, and also just paper and pens. You can always steal it from the optical. You're totally fine with that. So depends what kind of pen you like.
Anna, is your setup similar? I guess is it kind of
those are
image?
Pretty much. The optical will order me paper or pens if I need it. So some of the more common office supplies they can definitely help you out with. But the things that they cannot are like eye drops, pharmaceuticals. You'd have to buy those. But they do help you out with a lot. And you can always ask them and see what they can help you with.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. So I mean, comparing, you know, private practice expenses, essentially you're the business owner here. You have to buy those things, and I guess that's standard. And so that rent aspect, let's dig a little deeper on that. What does that actually look like? I think people want to know, what do you pay? If you can give us a range, or, you know, what do your colleagues pay in general? What can one expect?
Right. Yeah. So I can't really say exactly because it's different, right? So it pretty much ranges from $400 to $700 depending where you are, but it's not that much. 4 to 7, 4 to 6 across the nation.
Usually, if you have a busy day, you can pretty much take care of your rent that day. Very true.
And they already took care of the marketing for you, because they provide a portal, OD marketing portal toolkit where you can actually order your business cards. You can call it and say, hey, can you help me set up my social media, my Facebook page, my Yelp page? And they definitely help you out with all that.
Yeah, they don't
Got it.
only help you set it up, but like for Facebook and maybe like Google pages, they can also post for you. I think for me, it's twice a week, and I have like, I think 6 topics that they'll go through and they'll post every week. And after 6 months, they'll give me the list of 30 topics and I'll pick my next 6. So in terms of trying to get out there with your social media, they definitely do help you out. So especially for doctors who are not so social media savvy, this would be great because they just take care of everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nice. And then you could kind of put your own icing on the cake. So I guess if there's like staff things going on or holiday events, you're able to just kind of plug in and do what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you have, John, over at your office, the EHR?
Yes, we have the Revolution EHR.
Okay.
Yep,
So
and that's included in the rent.
Mhm.
Which is awesome, which is great. It's a
Wow.
it's very easy to work with. It coincides with the equipment that I actually have. It's automated equipment, so I don't have to write anything down. Just press the finalize button. Everything goes into the EHR, and just press print for the prescription.
Yeah, and the Revolution is also compatible with the online scheduling program that they use. So it's 2 ways. So if you make any changes on your scheduler, it will go over to Revolution, and the other way around too. So it's very convenient, easy to use.
So how have these things, I guess, because I guess the deeper thing here is like, okay, obviously you're set up with what you need to get started and not only get started, but to run successfully. So are these things pretty impactful for you guys when it comes to just day-to-day, both learning and becoming a better clinician, but also the business side and learning the business side? How do these automations, how do these streamlined processes help you throughout the day?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, is a difficult question. I mean, what is it like practicing with those things? Because I'm just putting myself in the shoes that I've been in where I didn't have those things. And it was really difficult to, do what needed to be done on a day-to-day basis. So what is it like practicing with those efficiencies?
Oh, it's running with those equipment. Is that what we're talking about? The automation?
Yeah, with scheduling, automatic scheduling,
So
simplified EHR.
So the simplified EHR, obviously, it helps because you don't want to spend the whole time with your back to the patient, right? So that helps. It also getting their emails and their contact info. What I do with those information is that I actually email them a couple of days later saying, hey, thank you very much for coming in, right? And if you like the experience, please share your review or share your thoughts on Yelp or Google reviews. When you're employed, you don't really do that, right? So with those automation, with the online booking system, with the EHR, you have all that where you can just press one click of a button, it populates an email, and then you send it out saying, thank you for coming in, giving us a chance, share your thoughts, here's a Yelp review link. Pretty much simplified form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anna, what are some of your efficiencies?
Yeah, I think with just being paperless in general, you won't have any lost charts. You hate when that happens, the patient comes in and you can't find their chart. So that's been really helpful. And it really helps you to be very thorough as well, because there's a lot of like case history sections you got to click through. So a lot of times if you're really busy, you don't want to forget about those things. So they won't let you forget. And another really a really helpful tool, at least at my office, because patients are losing their emails all the time for or not their emails, their prescriptions, and they want you to print them a copy. So on Revolution, they have this patient portal. You sign them up with a user ID and a password, and basically they can log on to there and print their own prescriptions if they need it. They can also see their chart notes. So I really like that aspect of having that to offer to the patients. And they can also chat with you as well if they needed to tell you something or ask you something. So I really like that part of Revolution. That's helped me out a lot because at my practice, it's very busy. So I don't have time to always, right when they need it, print them their prescription. And
How'd you guys get that all set up to begin with? Did someone like a regional director or someone help you, or what was that like?
For me, it was a new part of my lease earlier last year. So it was brand new. Basically, my regional connected me with someone to teach me from Revolution. And then they gave us like a whole Excel of all these different learning videos to go through. So you watch all of those, and they do check back with you and make sure you're up to date with the schedule. And it takes probably about 1 to 2 weeks to go through everything. And if you feel confident, you can go live at that point.
Very cool.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's see here. What do you need to do before your practice opens?
You would need to get your business checking account, because you need that to start your own business. You need to set up an entity like an LLC, an S-Corp, which we will talk about a little later. You need to get your business license. You will need to get credit card machines, right? It seems like a lot, but it's very easy. And every step that I've gone through, the people were very, very helpful, both Luxottica and my bank. So definitely talk with your accountant. You definitely need your entity to be set up, your LLC, S-Corp. That should be one of your first things you should set up first, because without that, you won't be able to get your checking account, your tax ID number through the IRS.
Okay.
Got it. John, would that change if you were going into an existing sublease or you were starting a new one? And what was that like for you?
When you go into an existing sublease, you still need to do all that because it's your business now. And it was a little bit of headache, but it was a good headache, kind of because you're building something of your own from the ground up, whether it's new sublease you're taking versus established. It's still your own name. People are going to call the office and say, hey, can I speak to whatever you call your business?
Mm-hmm. Aside from those aspects, I think another important part to do before you open your practice is to try to do a little bit of marketing on your own about your practice, whether it be like in the newspaper, if you want to go old school, or just start your Facebook page and just let people know that you'll be there. Because Target is, I would say, it's kind of newer in comparison to the other subleases. So a lot of other retail places like Costco or Walmart, the guest who goes there, they're familiar. People know, okay, I can also get my eyes checked at these places. But a lot of people don't know about Target. So it would be good to just try to get out there in the community and let them know, here's another thing that Target's able to provide, another one-stop shop opportunity, get your eyes checked over there, and just reach out to the community prior to when your office opens. So when you open, you'll have patients to see. That's important. But it also goes a long way. And you can also reach out to other companies that take certain insurance that you're going to be on panel for, if possible, and just let them know that you're there. And that's also a good way to reach out to see patients is through the business. So doing marketing is really important because I've had 2 subleases, one where I didn't get a chance to market as much before, and the other one where there was a lot of marketing done before, and I definitely see the difference. It's more of an uphill battle if you haven't marketed prior to, or not done as much prior to your opening. So I think that's also very important to set aside some time and strategy for that.
And speaking of the marketing, I would add on to getting a website, definitely a website. So that increases your search engine optimization. So when they Google doctor near me, hopefully if you have a web page, Target Optical web page, and Facebook page, and Twitter account, and all that other social media platforms, you'll rank a little higher than someone next door that does not have a website, Facebook, Yelp, and other social media platforms.
So what's been your guys' strategy, both of you, on just in general branding? I mean, you're within the Target Optical, so there's benefits there towards foot traffic and brand recognition and those things, but obviously in a way you're still separate. And so how do you manage that? I mean, you know, patients still get to know you for you and come to you because it's you. And I guess maybe does Target help to bring them in, and then you really transition it kind of like to marketing it under your name and your practice? And what does that flow look like, or what's the best way to get the most patients in, considering that in a way they're somewhat separate or are separate?
Well, I do Facebook business page, and I actually post on there, and I do Facebook ads. Pretty cheap.
Oh, you're like the first person ever to do Facebook ads in eye care. Seriously, no one does them, I feel like. So congrats to you.
It's very cost effective. You can set your mile radius however you want. 3 mile radius, you get this many people that you get to reach. 5 mile, 10 mile, obviously costs more. So that's a really great way to do it. And I have on my personal webpage, I actually do a little blogging, and where it kind of let people get to know what I do, you know. And on my webpage, I have certain keywords where they look for in Google, like, red eye. So I write a blog about a red eye.
Yep,
So
that's smart.
Yeah, so, and then also a link to my online scheduling, the one that Anna was telling you guys about. So they can actually just click there, make an appointment right there and then on their phone after they read their blog.
Yep. Hey, by the way, guys, anyone who's watching, looks like we got 15 viewers or so live right now. Feel free to ask questions in the comments, and we'll get to them. So don't forget about that. Anna, what about you? What about on your side for the marketing? Anything you're doing? I know you really like that aspect of the practice.
Right. Well, to answer your question about the flow, so the Target Optical, they help me and they help book my appointment basically. And so I see the patients, I check them out, and I take them back over to Target Optical. Even if the patient's not sure if they're going to buy from next door, I just take them back and let them know that, you know, you talk to the optical staff, see what your insurance covers, see what they can work to help stay in your budget. You're free to go anywhere you'd like, but they usually have really good deals that you want to just at least talk to them about and hear them out. So that's how the partnership works. The optical side helps do attraction, go out to the store, meet guests, and help, you know, see if they need to get their eyes checked and bring them back, schedule the appointment. I see them, and then I take them back over there. And Target Optical takes it from there. And so it's really nice, kind of like you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back situation.
Aha. I was doing an Instagram story while you were doing that, talking about marketing. You gotta do 2 things at once. Yeah, social media is really powerful, I think, for marketing in general. And, you know, we found that you really just need to take it very seriously. It seems like this kind of just side exercise that you can do. But for us, the more we've invested in it, the more success we've had. And obviously that's through the business, but I've heard a lot of practices pursuing the similar strategy and having a lot of success. John, I just want to like deep dive really quickly there on the Instagram, on the Facebook ads. How do you go about creating those? What does like a quick higher level overview look like from start to finish for creating an ad and getting it live?
All right, so you have to have a Facebook page first of all, right? And then there's a link there where you go in to do your advertisement. You can pay for a post that shows up on the top. Or you can just set out like I said was early with 3 mile radius, which tells you about your practice, right? What I do is I actually make a post with a link about my blog, and I pay that to be blasted through a 3 mile radius. So you just can't pay an ad about your business page. You should post something relevant that reaches out to patients that you can really relate to, and then pay for it. Does that make sense a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure that when they land on your site, right, the landing page would be a place to schedule or a place to convert them.
Because you just can't say, I want to pay for an ad about my Facebook page when your Facebook page has no photos, no post, no relevant information. To me, it's just, oh, he's a doctor, eye doctor.
Right.
There's no reviews there, right? So have a relevant post or relevant blog, something relevant that customers and or patients can relate to. And they're like, oh, I'm having that problem. He understands me. I'm going to click on that link to schedule an appointment.
Got it. Do you guys, with the Target Optical, do you find that Yelp or Google or Facebook reviews is one better than the other, or do you kind of just let the patients, let the chips fall where they may?
I think for me, Yelp has been better. The times that I've been able to ask the patients, oh, how did you hear about us? It's like, oh, I saw your Yelp reviews. You had good reviews. That's why I came to see you. I haven't had much or many patients say, oh, the same thing about Facebook or Google pages. I think Yelp is really big.
Mm-hmm. Likewise, Yelp is huge.
Yeah, likewise, same thing for me. It was by far the biggest. I think for especially for optometrists, it's the place to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Anna, feel free to keep going with the other questions. Sure.
So getting back on track here.
Sorry, I always do.
That's okay. I guess we could talk about the S-Corp, LLC, C-Corp. Should new prospective sublease holders get one?
Oh, absolutely. They should definitely reach to their accountant or their financial advisor, because every state's different. One state could be better with LLC, one state could be better with S-Corp. I can't really say per se which is better for you, because every state's different. Definitely talk to your accountant, your financial advisor. They'll definitely tell you a little bit more about it. But definitely set up some type of entity.
Right.
Yeah. So in general, the way this works, guys, is a business entity does a few different things for you. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, but at the end of the day, it's going to simplify accounting side. So like finances, that basically means having separate books and records. So you have separate books that has your income and expenses. It's separate from your personal name. That's convenient. For that reason, tax is done very differently. An LLC as a single member looks very similar to as if it's just you as an individual. An S-Corp or a C-Corp look a little bit differently. It also the entity provides a degree of protection. So similar to the way malpractice insurance protects you, the LLC or a business entity, a corporation of some sort would have its protections, not like malpractice insurance. It doesn't replace that by any means, but has other protections against, people suing you potentially for business practices, whatever that might be. But overall, it becomes a little bit easier to divide up equity. Say like you have a partner in the business, that becomes far easier. And there's things like that. It really just keeps things separate and compartmentalized. Running a business is like its own baby, its own individual. And so having things separate and organized makes your life just far easier. Some of like the really advanced things, like should I go C-Corp or S-Corp, those things become less important unless you're having different types of shareholders and things like that. And so, for the most part, you'd want to look into getting one of these set up, but you should talk with an accountant and talk with an attorney. But you can do a lot of just in general, good research on just do a Google search. Investopedia has good information on this stuff. And I think if you're about to open one of these business entities, you should do some research because you're about to be a business owner anyway. And so, that's a hallmark of being a business owner is being able to do that research.
Yep.
All right, that was very good. Let's see here. Does the Luxottica team help you with insurance credentialing and getting your business set up?
Yes. When you sign with Luxottica, they set you up automatically with a lot of vision insurance plans. A lot major ones like iMed, Spectera, Aetna, Davis. So that's the easy part. It literally takes about, a week or two, would you say, Anna?
Yeah, it's very quick.
Mm-hmm. All the vision insurances. You can sign up for the other ones as well, but I would highly recommend doing medical insurances. That's something you have to do on your own.
Right.
They will not help you with that.
So the medical are the ones you have to do on your own, John?
Yes, majority of them. There's only one medical that you will be credentialed through them, which is Aetna.
Right.
Blue Cross Blue Shield, Medicare, United Healthcare. Those will be the ones that you have to set up on your own. And I highly recommend that.
Yes. Yeah. And you can sign up for whatever insurance panel you want. They will not tell you cannot or cannot do that. So a lot of freedom there in terms of what you want to do.
Yeah, but there are. I think there was one that I looked into that I cannot accept because the optical does not accept it.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure you can still do it, but it's just that if the patient comes to see you, they just don't have any benefits for glasses. Is that
Right? Of course.
Yeah. Okay, and
And
then
getting your business set up,
Mhm.
they are pretty helpful in terms of like helping you direct you, like, hey, you need to set up your hours this way. They won't tell you what to do, but they will advise you. Say, this doctor down the street opens Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You should open Wednesday, or maybe even close Friday. So they will help you in that. But again, they will not tell you you need to open this day. They will highly recommend certain ones. Again, it's your business. You should definitely not be lazy about it. It's your business. You want it to grow, so you should do whatever it takes to grow your business.
Speaking of lazy, I just forgot to check the questions people were asking. I was busy tweeting. Adam wants to know, have you found any challenge in balancing the fine line between running your own business, but also having to color inside the lines of Target's terms and conditions of your sublease?
Was that to me?
Yeah, anyone who wants to take it, sure. I could repeat it if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you repeat it?
It's like balance and something.
Yeah, have you found any challenge in balancing the fine line between running your own business, but coloring inside the lines of really what Target puts out there? So, I guess the question is really referring to independence. How much independence do you have in running your own business there?
I would say really good independence because, again, you do your own marketing. You charge whatever you need to do in terms of like professional fees, right? You can take majority any insurance that you want. You could do, what was that term? You can bring them back as much as you want in terms of like follow-ups, other diagnostic testing. Target Optical or even Target will not tell you having too many follow-ups. You can't do that. They will never step in that line. And plus all those charts that you have, they're all yours, by the way. You want to add that in.
Yeah, so if you go anywhere, you can take the charts with you.
Yep. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I think I actually know the individual who asked it, and so he's not an optometrist himself. But John, actually, just touch on like very high level. How does the difference work? What's the difference between what you're doing on the professional side and what's going on in the optical? I think that's something viewers would better like to understand.
What do you mean by that?
Just the split of you retaining all professional fees and the optical side, not retaining optical side.
Right. So a patient comes to see me, I collect their copay or they pay out of pocket, right? And that's what I keep. I do an awesome exam, probably one of the best ones they ever had.
Yes.
And then I give them a prescription, right? And then they go to the optical and they buy glasses. I would not get any percentage of those glasses sales, contact sales, sunglass sales. So all I get is professional fees, co-pays, contact lens fitting fees, diagnostic testing fees like retinal photos, visual field, dry eye workup fees, binocular vision fees. So all those things, all the professional fees I keep. I don't get any sales from the optical side at all. And there's 2 credit card machines out there, my credit card and the Target Optical credit card.
Got it. Anna, similar for you?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So has this changed you guys as far as, are you very streamlined medically? Do you like, that aspect of it? Is this role more for someone who likes practicing medically, who likes doing their own co-management, their own follow-up schedule, that kind of thing, diagnostic testing?
Yes, definitely. One of my first jobs was in private practice, and my boss, one day I saw a lot of patients who play no prescription, and she's just like, why don't you, prescribe them any glasses? Why didn't we have these sales? And I just felt like I went to school to be a doctor, not to be a salesperson, not to reach a certain amount of sales for you. So when I got a chance to work at like a Costco, which is similar, you're just providing your service basically. That's what I felt like. That's where I wanted to practice, because I can focus on taking care of the patient, not worry about having to recommend these things so they can buy it and reach the goals of the optical. So it's definitely for someone who wants to just practice on what they went to school for, essentially.
Yeah.
And you know, my fiance, Dr. Vicky Wong, she
Hey,
works.
Vicky.
She works in a private practice. She's able to do whatever she wants, and as many follow-ups, as many testings as she wants. It all depends where you go as well. You know, so the reason why I think this is good for me in terms of medically oriented position versus a private practice is that I get to get reimbursed for what I actually provide. And,
Got it.
you know, like I'm able to charge a medical exam this much because I feel like I'm giving that quality. You know, so without someone having a set prices saying, hey, you're gonna get paid for this much for your services. So I like that control aspect.
Mhm.
Yeah, Gary in the chat says, I view it as owning a franchise without the restrictions of franchise rules, the best of both worlds, your own practice and a support system. Would you guys resonate with that?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Thanks, Gary. These headphones are really tight, by the way. I'm going to have a migraine. I got to get different headphones.
Good.
All right, keep going, Adam.
Okay, let's see. How do you set up your equipment, such as your credit card machine? Where do you buy all the drops and other types of equipment you might need?
So I shopped around for the credit card machine in terms of rates. I looked on ODs on Facebook. I looked through several local banks, and I finally came up to one where I have my business checking account set up because they have good rates, they were competitive, and they offer really good rebates for the machine that I got. So just shop around, you know, and then really do your due diligence. Don't just sign the dotted line because sometimes it may look good, but the rates in terms of like how much each swipe they do, how much they charge you, can definitely add up. And what was the other? Get all the drops. I pretty much with Target Optical, they have a brochure with Hilco where they give discounts on drops on certain equipments. But I still shop around. I don't really necessarily go through Hilco. I go through a different company because they have a better drops. Like for example, they have cheaper Proparacaine. I go through here. Cheaper Tropicamide. I go through here. So that's what they provide there. So.
I want to add on other types of equipment. I got the Optos Daytona last year. I'm doing a rental instead of a buyout. And so with that, Target does not provide that, or Luxottica does not provide that. But they do give a discount, a little bit of a discount because it's through Luxottica. So any type of equipment you can definitely have and put it in your office, however you want to practice. But outside of what we discussed before, then you just have to go and take a look and see what you can get for those things. So just wanted to add on to that as well.
Cool, super helpful, yeah.
Okay, and then has Target Optical taught you the business of eye care?
I wouldn't say they taught me. I would say that I actually went to the optical and literally asked, how much do we make today? And what is our goal? You know, working for my eye doctor for the past 4.5 years, that's kind of been embedded in me. It's not that I'm trying to make a goal, but I still want to be involved as a team. I don't want to be separated where I'm the doctor, I see patients, I don't care if they buy glasses. You know, we're a team together. So again, like what you said earlier, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So that they don't really necessarily teach too much. I feel like I was more proactive in terms of reaching out and really engaging the optical side, say, what is our goal? How did we do? and plus I'm competitive with other targets around me.
Oh.
So I guess phrased a different way, though, it's almost like you're in the environment where you can be very available to learn those things. While maybe there isn't someone specifically saying, here's lesson 1, here's lesson 2. You're in an environment where should you want to learn, you can get that knowledge.
Yes, yes. And they would appreciate, they were like, oh man, he's asking for our goal. He actually cares, you know, not necessarily that it's not necessarily where I'm like trying to make that goal, like I said, but it's good to know. There's a reason why I went into a sublease, because I want to learn the business side while at the same time taking care of patients.
Got it.
Okay, let's see. How do you decide when to open, set fees, services, and deal with co-management?
How did I decide? I just kind of, based on my demographics, where in my area, a lot of people would come back late because in the DC area, the traffic is ridiculous. So at certain times of day, I would kind of open late. Even let's just say that you open 10 to 6, right? You can still change your hours from 10 to 6 to 10 to 7 or even 11 to 8. You can change that. When I first started the sublease, I have to make a schedule, but they were very lenient and like, I understand that, you know, it may change. You have no problem in changing the hours, because I just started sublease. I don't know the demographic too much. So I wouldn't say I went in there saying, I'm gonna work this many hours, I'm gonna open this day. It's still changing as we speak.
Right. They definitely, they present to you the hours that are in line with the store of how much the sales are during those times. So they recommend opening, like Saturday is pretty common to be open. Friday is usually a pretty busy day as well. So they recommend being open during those days, those certain times. But yes, it's definitely true. If, you know, after you start working for a little bit, you notice, you know, it's better to be open during this time. They can definitely be flexible and accommodate that. So that's very nice too.
And they don't really tell you what fees to set, because
Yeah.
they're not, they shouldn't, and they're not going to, but they may help you recommend. Like I have a doctor pretty much within walking distance from me, and I know how much they charge. I'm going to charge very similar to that, maybe even a little lower for now.
Mm-hmm.
It will definitely help you in terms of doing that type of research. But they won't tell you you need to charge $29 for an eye exam.
Like what, I had a good question. It just slipped my mind. Yeah, it'll come back to me. That was a quick one.
And services, you could do whatever, you make up your own service. Contact lens services, multifocal services, contact lenses. I do binocular vision services, a little different. You can also do dry eye workshop, dry eye services as well. So they won't tell you what to do, what not to do. Again, this is your business. This is your part of decision. They won't help you do that.
Mm-hmm. They'll definitely support you too if you decide to do something new. Just sit down, explain to them what you need from them, and they will definitely help you talk to patients about it. So they're helpful, and they are very supportive of anything new that you can bring to the office, to the practice.
When you guys say they or them, who are you referring to specifically? Do you have one particular person you're working with on a regular basis?
That would be the Target Optical manager. So by they, I mean the Target Optical staff, basically. Mm-hmm. So there's a manager and there's a few other team members. So usually I just tell the manager, and the manager will let the team members know if I need anything, if there's any changes. But they are big help. We don't pay for them to help us, but they're there to help us. So they help us do a lot of things. Yeah, so that's who I'm referring to.
So, I remember my question now. So, Anna, for example, I think you're coming to Vision Expo with us. You want to take a vacation. You know, is there rules around finding another doctor to do fill-in? And the same question, can you have an associate doctor to take part of your days while you go and travel the world?
Yes and yes. You definitely need to have either coverage if you're open 7 days, or you could swap days, but since Vision Expo is a few days, I'll most likely need to find a fill-in. But that's your responsibility, is try to take care of that ahead of time. But yes, just find someone to fill in for you, and if you have an associate, you can have an associate, and if they're open, they can switch with you for those days as well.
Yeah, that was perfect timing. Gary asked, would this work for two dudes who want to work 3 days a week each? They could each rotate Saturdays, and they could cover each other's vacations. So I guess let's take that a step further. Could that work for two docs who want to go into a sublease together? Can you do that? Or does it have to be one person on it? How fun can you get with this?
Oh, yeah, you could definitely do a partnership with two doctors covering a 7-day optical sublease. You can definitely do that. As long as Target Optical has coverage, what days they have, they don't care if you have 7 doctors working every single day.
Yeah. As long as you have a doctor there on the day that you say that you're going to have a doctor there, they're not going to bother you much.
Got it. Got it. What let's dive into like the stuff that, and I'll let you get back on track. I mean, in optometry school, I heard it too. There's things people say about corporate, whether they're myth or reality. What's like the 1 or 2 most common things you guys heard that just wasn't really true, or you just feel is like misunderstood when it comes to corporate? Because it's been around for a while, but I think there's misunderstandings.
I think one of the top myths are, because you work in corporate, the care you give is subpar because you're just like in a refraction mill. That's all you do, and you just refract all day and you don't look in the back, basically, which is not true, especially at Target, and especially being the business owner, the sublease holder. You give the care that you want to give, and I would imagine you want to give the best care that you can. So and when I worked at Costco, which is very, there's high volume, I still took the time to do what I needed to do to provide the care for the patient. Just, I guess it depends on your boss too, if they support you on that. But specifically for Target Optical, I see my patients every 30 minutes, so I can take a lot of time and be very complete and thorough with my patients.
John, before you give your answer there, I just want to dive deeper into that 30-minute exams. That's essentially what I did in private practice. And I think that's a huge myth that I'm picking up on there, is that you have to see patients every 5 or 6 minutes. I have a friend, I won't say his name, and I talk to him pretty often, but he sees patients, he's in private practice, and he sees, I just don't understand how he can do it. He sees tens, or let's see, he's probably up to like 40 patients a day. It's like ophthalmology status. I think Anna dropped out there, by the way. I know she said she was having some Wi-Fi issues, but she'll probably be back in. John, perfect timing though. What's your take on that?
Yeah, about the corporate myths and everything.
Yeah, and what the reality is compared to doing it for quite a few years.
Yeah, back at my doctor, we do see patients every 15 minutes, but the texts were very, very helpful. So I always tell all the new grads, everyone that is asking, hey, John, what do you think about this retail chain or this retail chain? I'm like, at the end of the day, when you close that door, that is your patient. Even though you have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you give your best one out there. There's some things you can cut out, like in terms of whatchamacallit. Not really. What I mean by cut out is that your pre-testers will be able to do majority of the work for you, the history form. You ask the right questions, get straight to the point, But like I said, at the end of the day, when you close that door, that is your patient, no matter where you work at, whether private practice, retail, sublease, at the VA hospital. When you close the door, that is your patient.
And John, how long are your exams now at Target?
30 minutes.
Got it. I kind of wish I had that back in the day. It was fast exams. And do you guys find that you're getting a lot of return visits and patients who see you as you rather than the Target Optical label? Because I think that's another misnomer, is people are going there for the brand name rather than for Dr. Lam. I mean, what's that return aspect like in building patient relationships? Is that present just as much as you think it would be in private practice?
I feel some of my patients, when I check them out, they always pause, and I'm like, oh, we do the checkout over here for the exam, and they're just like, oh, you're independent, you're separate. It's always a good like, oh, okay. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, I think that sums it up actually quite nicely. John, anything there?
Yeah, I feel like Target Optical and the Target culture brings them in, right? But when they return, when they bring their family back, they're coming back for me. And the added benefit to that also is that Target Optical is pretty good prices. I wouldn't say some would come back for the prices, returning patients, but majority of them, I would say I want you to see my son now, my husband is doing this. I want you to see him, me. So I think initially they come in for the Target. It's close by. They see in their insurance panel, oh, Target Optical. Let's try it out. And then when they get into that chair and just wow them, and then they would bring back their family, their friends. As a returning patient, they would come back for me, not for Target Optical.
Yeah, I'll tell you this marketing term out there, cost per acquisition. Acquiring a user or a customer or a client, or I forget what Target you said they called them, a patient obviously, is expensive. And that cost, it sounds like, is minimized because of the brand. And then it comes into marketing and retaining the patient, right? And so that comes down to you and who you are as a doctor.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see. You see the one patient. Sometimes they tell you, like, I'm trying you out, and then if I like you, I'm gonna bring my kids in or something like that. But it's always nice to see that they tell one person, then another person, and then slowly you saw like the whole family. So that's been my experience, and on how I've been building the practice as well. It's a lot of word of mouth referrals.
Got it. We got 8 minutes. Anna, you want to try to squeeze in those other questions?
All right. So what would be the next step for you, John? Are you interested in another optical lens crafters, expanding days, hiring another doc?
I'd take the 5th. No, I'm always thinking of what I can do to expand myself and really change the way optometry has been practicing. So I really don't know what's going to be next, but I can tell you Target Optical is not the end for me. I'm always going to try to expand a little bit bigger, always never stop learning.
Yeah.
John, I think I heard you say a lens crafters was potentially in your future?
Possibly. It could be a possibility because with Target Optical, you still get to practice independently, but with lens crafters, you have a little bit more room, literally physically more room. So you get to have more diagnostic testings, and you get to capture a little bit more patient loyalty than Target Optical, because lens crafter actually advertises a little bit more than Target Optical, even though it's the same company, Luxottica.
And I guess lens crafters, is it the locations that are slightly different, or is it still going to be similar to the way, well, Target is just Target, obviously.
So lens crafters, sublease, you're actually within lens crafters. So it's not tied to a Walmart, Costco, Target, or anything like that. Was that the question?
Yeah, it helps to understand it.
Yeah, it's more headaches, but those are good headaches.
Headaches sometimes means you're making money, which is good.
That too. It's like you enjoy a really nice whiskey and then you have a hangover the next day. That's good headache.
Yeah. I'm a Bombay Sapphire gin and ginger ale. That's my summer drink.
What about you, Anna?
I don't drink too much.
It's like
I'm just like one and done, no more.
Okay, I think we have one more question, right?
Yeah, so we made it to the end. Why would you recommend having a Target sublease if you want to just add on a little bit more, if you can?
You get to practice independently. practice the way you want to practice. You get to really put your foot in terms of how to really do a business while taking care of patients. If you want a private practice in the far future, I believe this is a really good opportunity for you, because you may be the best doctor, but you may not be a good business person. Luckily, with Target Optical Subleases, the overhead is low. So if you don't do well in the business side, which I don't think anybody will fail in that, you can at least say, you know what, this is the business. Private practice is not for me. I just like to take my W-2s, get my benefits, and have paid vacations. And that's the reason why I took Target Optical Sublease, not because the lucrativeness of it, that's even a word, but I want to see myself, am I a good business person while I'm also a good doctor as well? See if it's right for me. And obviously practicing independent, obviously, I can't say obviously, that's why we're having this webinar. So
webinar. I mean, Anna, how about for you? Would you agree with that same kind of sentiment?
I would say so. Like, the top two things that really stand out for me when I was looking at Target is just the independence to practice how you want to practice, set your fees, and then also, what I was going to say. The overhead. It's just a way to do what you went to school for, and then it doesn't take much to, be able to pay your overhead and get the returns, the high returns, and what you deserve. So
what's the income potential like in general? And I think that's a big question a lot of new graduates have, and from the loan aspect, how quickly they get to pay off loans versus senior doctors or more established doctors wanting a good income. Is that above usually employed positions? Would you expect more from a sublease? Any idea of like numbers, just anything you can give us or give the watchers?
It's tough to say, because some days, like when I was at another location that was not doing so great, it was $0 one day, so I lost money driving to work. And then some days it's just, you can get into the thousands for the day, and it varies. It's hard to say, but there's a range. There can be a big range too, how you do every day. And depending on how you do and the place you're at, if it's busy, then that's definitely can help you pay back your school loans. I think you were wanting to touch on that.
Yeah. I would say if you are established, maybe 3 years in the Target Optical Sublease or 5 years plus, you're definitely going to be making more than being employed. Yeah, definitely.
Any degree of percent higher, or I want to give more context than just say you're making bank. I
mean, I made good money with my eye doctor, so it's. But then I wasn't a regular optometrist there. I would say it's safe to say you can make about everyone's waiting.
Everyone's waiting. You give a range. It's hard to say because it's location dependent. You're on your first anniversary year, so it's almost difficult to say because you're only at your first year, and you're saying that like with any practice, you need a couple of years of being established. But in the beginning with private practice, you really aren't bringing in much of a profit at all in the beginning.
But there are some days, especially end of the year, like December time, if I saw every day 10, 14 patients, I can tell I would be able to make close to 200, maybe even more.
Yeah. Wow. That's more than I thought, actually, especially at that patient level. That's excellent.
But we're talking about 5 days, 6 days, 14 patients a day. Again, that overhead is next to nothing.
Yep.
And that's what it is. You can make a lot, but then you got to pay like a lot of rent,
And if you were to work with how would that work? Say like you bring in someone to do a fill-in day. Do you just pay them a flat rate, like a per diem rate, and then you get to kind of keep some of their earnings, or not their earnings, their revenue they made your practice?
I don't hire anybody, but I have an idea. I would just pay them a per diem, but also give them, if they reach a certain professional fees, then we will get half. Now,
Got it.
when I want to take a day off, I'm not looking to make money. I'm looking to take a day off so I can play golf. You know,
Yeah.
maybe $20 is fine because those patients will come back next year, or they bring family members in when I'm going to see them.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what I would.
Yeah. For you, you can pay the fill-in doctor whatever you want to set. So at my office, it's I do like a base, and then I have a little bit of incentive if there's certain testing that we're done. So, but you'd pay the patient, and I mean you pay the fill-in doctor, and for me, if there's something left over, then that's my profit.
Got it. Got it. Now, Annie, do you think it's a little bit different for you in California with just medical insurance and stuff? Would you, or in terms of income potential, would you agree with some of John's numbers?
Yeah, I would say so. In terms of seeing 6 days with 14 patients and getting that 200 plus level. Yeah.
Got it. I hate having to, well, we don't have to end. We could go for another 5 minutes, but we're having like the most viewers are watching now.
Where have you been the whole time?
Type it in.
Yeah, I think the YouTube thing gets a little tricky with answering questions. They really, YouTube's starting to do much more with live streaming. And so hopefully they scale it and make it easier for people to find and ask questions. Gary said the bottom line is more important than the bottom line is more important than the top line. Low overhead gives you higher bottom line. Very true. Other questions, type them in. I'm trying to think questions that I have in particular. Where do you guys see, just in general, let's say 5 years and then also 10 years, where do you see this evolving? The Target Optical Sublease, the LensCrafters Sublease, let's specifically say under the Luxottica umbrella. What do you guys see from the leadership and from the people you talk to? Do you think this is going to be a sweeter and sweeter opportunity? Do you think Luxottica is listening to the feedback that people have been saying for a while about how to make this a better thing for the doctor? And then I could chime in on my 2 cents there as well.
Well, I think for Targets, you're definitely going to see them pop up in more existing Target locations. I know that's a goal of theirs, is to try to get Target Opticals in all the Targets possible. So you definitely see them come up more.
How about like just equipment and just overall like staying on the forefront of technology, the forefront of marketing, that type of stuff, making it easier for you to do what you do?
Yeah, so I think they're going to include more diagnostic testings for the doctor. So it'll be more appealing to sign the dotted lot for a sublease. And they also have equipment where it'll make seeing patients a little faster, a little easier. Again, this is still a retail, so they would want to make sure that Target Optical provides an equipment to the doctor where the refraction is pretty quick, easy, less errors. So that means you get to see more. The doctor will make more. Target Optical will make more because you're seeing more. So I think they're going to implement more technology in terms of that reasoning behind that.
Got it. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, we're fortunate enough, we're working with Luxottica here at Covalent Careers, and it's been a really great journey working with them so far. I think there's a lot of focus and a lot of attention on the doctor needs now, and the folks that we work with are really receptive to the feedback that we're getting, not only from webinars like this, but feedback that I'm getting under the table. And I think just a bigger shift is happening where they're much more optometrist focused. And so I think that's a good thing, for us, the people on this webinar, for the people who are potentially listening, and what's to come. 5 years, 10 years is an even longer scale, but I think those are positive things, and moving in an upwards direction should people consider this opportunity. And I mean that wearing my optometrist hat. I mean that wearing someone who's kind of been through a lot of these different scenarios. So that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I want to add on that There's only a certain number of targets that will have a Target Optical. So if there's anyone who is very interested in getting a Target Optical, that they try to be proactive in seeking it out, because for a lot of the established sublease holders, they've been in practice for a really long time. So it's kind of like a situation where they probably won't leave until they retire. So here's an opportunity where there's going to be more locations to get a sublease at. So if you are really interested and you love what you heard today, that you try to get in touch with someone, you can go to Covalent Careers and search for Target Optical, and there'll be more resources there. But basically, if you really want one, now is the time.
Yes.
Yeah,
Time to grow.
Yeah, that's. I just was speaking with one of my friends, and she has a private practice and a lens crafters in Encinitas, and I think she may have her hands on the first Target Optical here in California as well, or at least maybe it's San Diego. I can't remember exactly, but and she's really excited about it. She has a spectrum of all experiences, but you're right. I think they're kind of going like hotcakes,
Right.
and probably because that top line, bottom line type of mentality or type of business model where what you have low expenses and you keep what's yours. So I think it's lucrative for a lot of docs out there who want to earn extra money and get that experience with their patients. A nice 30-minute exam time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, Anna, covalentcareers.com. You could do a search for Target, but covalentcareers.com/Target-Optical is a page that has content about corporate optometry, content about John and Anna wrote a fantastic article about the complete guide to open a Target Optical Sublease. So just literally Google Target Optical Sublease and we'll come up on that. We're going to do a lot more of this stuff. And just if you need to contact us, I'm Matt at Covalent Careers. Our number here at the office is 858-246-7066. You can talk to me directly about this type of stuff. Guys, I wouldn't give out your phone number, but if you want to, how can they reach you? What's the best way?
Anna?
For me, it's Anna at covalentcareers.com too. So that'd be easy.
Yeah.
You can just Facebook me, Chun AuYeung, or you can just find me on the other Facebook page, Chicka Chicka John. And you can private message me. I'm really quick in responding to the Facebook messages. You can even email me at dr.c.my last name, aoyung@gmail.com.
And that's AUYE.
UNG.
UNG. Okay, got it.
And,
And
careers, it's there.
yeah. And guys, I can definitely, Matt at covalentcareers.com or link up with one of our success managers here at Covalent Careers, and we will absolutely just hand you off to Anna and John for more candid information and more specific questions that you might have. But thank you to the Luxottica family and to Target for sponsoring the webinar. And we're really excited to be beginning this type of relationship. There's going to be a lot more great content as transparent and authentic as possible. So thanks to them. And of course, thank you guys so much for doing this. It's a real treat to have you on.
It was fun.
Yeah, thank you. It was great.
All right, guys, signing out. Take care, everyone.